It's a great day, sports world. What's up to all the sports lovers, the haters, the addicts, and the fanatics? This is Larry Patterson for GT365. That's Game Time 365 Sports. Right here on the GTSN, it's the Game Time Sports Network. Episode 9. Here with my man A-Dub. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How's it going, man?
And you know what it is. Game 4 tonight. You know what I'm saying? Quick little pod before we put I ain't gonna say I ain't gonna jinx it. I was gonna say something, but we're gonna see what happens tonight. So um we coming to do the AFC North, NFC North draft recap. This is the last two divisions that we have to break down. But before that, we got some news, a little bit of news today. A a player from your team, and not the position that everybody, the premium positions, but those other positions, they matter as well. And a punter got signed by you guys, Mr. AJ Cole. What was it, 4 years, 15.8? How you feel about the signing, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, he's like one of those guys that we found diamond in the rough, and you 2-time All Pro, three-time Pro Bowler. Yeah, look at my boy right there. He yeah, he's one of the ones. He's probably the best punter in the league, if you ask me. If he's up, keep this pace up that he has right now. He might end up passing our late great Ray Guy as the best punter in franchise history. The way he's going, yeah, 4 years, $15 million, $15 million extension. Maybe the highest punter in the league. Yeah, some teams may poo poo and say, yeah, you paying a punter the max extension. Yeah, what franchise does that? But we all know there's three phases of ball: offense, defense, and special teams. And I feel like between AJ Cole and Daniel Carlson, kicker, which is he's going to be next to get extended, if not before Colton Miller, either after Colton Miller, he will get extended. That's just showing we got one of the best special teams rooms in the league. And it's also showing me and showing Raider Nation that our new GM, John Spatek, he's taking care of your own people. So you want to take care of the people that's already in the building and been a part of the organization for a few years, have performed at a high level, came through in clutch times, a la Max Crosby, um, a la, some of this free agents that we signed, that we re-signed, that was on our team. Now, AJ Cole, like I said previously, I expect Colton Miller to get done here in the next whatever, and Daniel Carlson to get done. So yeah, man, you're taking care of your homegrown talent, and that's just one thing Raider Nation we didn't do. We weren't great at. We let Josh Jacobs go out the door, let Derek Carr go out the door. The big Khalil Mack trade in 2018, but let him go for a couple first round picks. That end up being a Josh Jacobs. So yeah, man, you're just taking care of the people that you drafting. That's how teams have winning organizations. They take care of the players that they draft. Look at the Ravens. Look at the Chiefs. Look at the Bills. Look at the all the successful teams that playing in January. Those are homegrown talents, and you just taking care of them. So I mean, I feel good about the Cole signing. He's gonna be around for a little while. He's a good guy on and off the field. Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Average 48.6 yards per punt and 42.1 net yards per punt in 100 career games. He's placed 44.9% of his 374 kicks inside the opponent's 20-yard lines. And I think he had 27 inside the 20 last season as well. So great signing. Keeping your own guys, like you said, that's the key of it. Those positions that don't get looked at as much, like your premium positions. So I think that was pretty key right there. Um, Good that y'all got some kind of news. uh, next topic, we got Steelers in business. Um, they got some issues to work out, especially at the quarterback position. And Cousins could be a backup plan if Rodgers does not work out. Um, with two quarterbacks coming off of Achilles. Of course, Rodgers, he played all of last season, and Cousins injured in the early part. What was it? Yeah, it was no. He was injured the year before, but
Yeah, before
coming back.
last.
Yeah, so I mean, we both know, like, guys coming off those injuries, it's going to take at least a year to kind of, like, fully heal and get up to speed and whatnot. So, um, what do you think the Steelers do? I think we probably touched on this before, but, like, what do you think the Steelers do in this situation?
For me, and I don't know, Coach White, he might chime in and say something. He might disagree with me here.
Oh,
Sorry,
you
Coach
know
White.
that.
But I think they should do the Rodgers route. Yeah, we know. I think Rodgers gives you the out of these two quarterbacks here, he probably gives you the best chance to go far in the playoffs. Because we all know what Kirk Cousins is. We know he can only take you so far. He can get you a playoff win, get you the divisional round, but that's just about it. Um, Rodgers, he can. Yes, he's had Achilles year before last, and he had a down year this year. But I still think, out of those two, he can get you to a championship game at the max. Not saying he can get you any further than that, but I feel like if I'm part of the Steelers organization or Steelers fan, I'll feel more comfortable saying, hey, I'd rather have Rodgers under center come, postseason because he's been there, done that, 4 MVPs, Super Bowl championship. Yes, it was in 2012. That's a long time ago, but he done been there and done that. With Cousins, he coming off a torn Achilles. His spot got took by Michael Penix. He's owed $27 million if you trade for him. So I don't know if he might really trade for that contract. I don't think Tom is going to want to give up $20 million of a salary cap. Knowing that you got to take care of some of your players like T.J. Watt, he's going to want a new deal. And I don't know if that's just a good mix with him in cold weather. He don't have the strongest arm as it is right now. So I just think, Rodgers give them the best chance. So if I had to pick one, I would definitely say Aaron Rodgers over Kirk Cousins.
Over 3,800 yards, 28 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, sacked 40 times. So, if the line is right, then we can see better results out of Aaron. Uh, and then with Kurt, what was it 3508 on yards thrown, and then 18 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. If you look at the career, like, I mean, that does kind of sound like it's up there because he has thrown a lot of touchdowns, but he's thrown a lot of interceptions as well. Sometimes he has those seasons where he's in the single digits, but yeah, the Steelers and Rodgers have to get on some kind of page if he's going to be the guy. You think about it, you're already kind of behind the 8 ball, and some guys are kind of going on to, like, voluntary workouts and stuff like that. So, like, you're kind of behind right now. But we'll see what happens. But Kirk Cousins is definitely a valuable option. Considering he's had a year where his Achilles has healed. So, we'll see what happens, man. Let's go into the draft breakdown. Speaking of, let's keep it right here while we in the Steel City. When the Steelers draft recap, in the first round, pick 21, they took defensive tackle Derek Harmon out of Oregon. Third round, pick 83, running back Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. I love this kid coming out, and I think we'll touch on it after I read through everything. But in the fourth round, pick 123, outside linebacker Jack Sawyer from Ohio State. Fifth round, pick 164, defensive tackle Yahya Black out of Iowa. Sixth round, pick 185, quarterback Will Howard out of Ohio State. Put a star by that name. And in the seventh round, pick 226, linebacker Carson Bruner from Washington. And the seventh round, pick 229, cornerback Dante Kent from Central Michigan. I see. I see three potential starters right here, and it could be another one depending on what else happens in the quarterback situation with what they have on going on over there, depending on how well Will Howard plays in preseason and training camp, how well he fares out, and then um, Derek Harmon as well. Well, maybe not this year, but definitely heavy in the rotation with Cam Hayward. Father time catching up, and Caleb Johnson. So how do you feel about where the Steelers went in this draft?
Yeah, man. Steelers, man. They always have defensive tackles in rotation. So them picking Derek Harmon, that's about right where he's supposed to go. 2021. So yeah, I like that pick. Have an heir apparent to my boy. What's my boy name? Casey Hayward. Caleb Johnson. I know he's usually you a big fan of Caleb Johnson. To get him at 83. I thought he would have been gone by then. And in the fourth round to get Jack Sawyer in the fourth round, they can give you some, DN, your secondary pass rusher opposite of TJ Watt. I think that's a good pickup as well. Then I'm gonna go to the sixth round here with Will Howard. And we're gonna talk about Will Howard a little in depth here. Me personally, I think he's their answer. Not this year, but definitely, I can see him taking over in 2026 and being a full time starter. He's 6'5", prototypical length, has command of the offense. I seen him a little bit on John Gruden Barstool QB camp. Very knowledgeable, know how to get in and out of checks, can retain information, can read coverages. I just like the package of Will Howard and him. Displaying a national championship run without him having to be the man. He was just the point guard for the Ohio State team, with Jeremiah Smith and
Mm-hmm.
the two running backs with Quinshon Judkins and my boy Travion, and then you had my other wide receiver, Emeka Ibuka, out there with Josh Simons and Donovan Jackson winning the first round. So he had first rounders all the way around him. And he was just the point guard. He didn't have to do too much. He didn't have to go out his way and be Superman. He is, distributed whatever Chip Kelly called, and you seen that from that college football playoff run, all, from that Michigan loss all the way on. You seen more focused Will Howard, and they knew they were getting in. And then that first game on, you just see him just just be a point guard. So, and I think that's what you need to be in the NFL. Saying can't everybody be Superman, Patrick Mahomes. You just need that point guard to orchestrate the offense and put you in good position. And Will Howard definitely shown in the college football playoffs that he can be that guy that can lead you to a championship for sure in college, and has the potential to be a pro starter maybe in year two in the NFL. So that was probably my favorite pick of the Steelers draft, and I'm a big fan of Will Howard for sure.
Yeah, when Ohio State transferred him over there, beginning of last season, I was like, hey, might have something here coming from Kansas State, and threw 24 touchdowns in his season before, 24-10, and then you knew he was going to improve coming over to Ohio State, completing 73% of his passes, over 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. This might be a little dark horse here, man. This
Yep.
may be a dark horse here. Um, do you feel like he's got a chance to start?
Yes, I really do feel like he has a chance to start. If it's even if it's not this year, it all depends on who's the quarterback. That's why I say if Rodgers is there, I feel like this is the year if Rodgers takes over, see what he can do with the Steelers, and then kind of slowly usher in Will Howard to be the heir apparent. You know what I'm saying, for 2026, because he has all the tools. Yes, he might have, do some consistency then, throwing the ball down the field and whatever the case may be. But I feel like I'm not. If we come in the show next year around this time after the draft, then the Steelers doesn't have a quarterback, I guarantee you Will Howard's probably got the nod to be QB1 going into 2026. That's how strong I feel about Will Howard as a player.
Absolutely, and What round did Big Ben come in? Did
He
he
was
get
the
drafted?
first round. He was the first round, and he was picked like number 11 or 12 out of.
I don't know why I thought he was drafted a little. I don't know, but
Yeah, he was the first round pick.
um, so like I mean, like you said, it was what was he 6'5"?
6'5".
Six six no, so was he 6'5", 6'4", 6'5"? So I mean, he kind of gave you that stealer kind of pedigree of quarterback anyway, and
Yeah, and he has the arm. You know what I'm saying? He has the arm to play in the league. Plus, and look, think about it. He's played in cold weather all his pretty much all his college career in Kansas State,
absolutely.
and then you go into Ohio State where it ain't roses and flowers out there in November and December. So he's built for the he's built. He's like he's made to be a Steeler. He's built to be a Steeler, man. I feel like he's one of them ones that when you actually say diamond in the rough, like I really believe he's one of those diamond in the rough that you can get him later, and there's no rush for him to play right now. You
Mhm.
know, and he can come in, just learn, be a pro, learn how to be a pro every day, learn behind Rodgers or Kirk Cousins or whoever the quarterback may be at the beginning of the year, and then slowly but surely play well in preseason, and then usher his way into the starting role come 2026. That's how strongly I believe about Will Howard.
Starting running back right now is Jalen Warren. I think Caleb Johnson definitely got a chance to start. Other running backs in that room. I mean, I'm not sleeping on Kenneth Gainwell as well because him coming up from a championship team. You know that this could be your opportunity. All you need is an opportunity, and he's definitely displayed. With the snaps that he's had. So I'm not necessarily going to sleep on Kenneth Gainwell either. Trey Sermon also over there. Um, how you feel about this running back class? Like it's kind of like anybody's room right now.
Yeah, it's anybody's room right now. Speaking of like the rounds one through three, anybody can start. Quishon can start. Travion can start. You know what I'm saying? Caleb can start. And we know Gentry's going to start. Omarion's going to start, man. So this running backs class is deep, man. It was deep, man. You looking at 14 running backs, but sure, Tootin down in Jacksonville. You can. It was deep, man. Any one of those guys could be a starter. Dylan Sampson. I don't know where he's at. He's in Cleveland as well, I believe. Yeah, man, this class is so deep. I think you could have found 14 starters with the first 14 running backs on your board, man. So, but good year to need a running back with two, for sure.
Uh, Derek Harmon added to the defensive line. He's at the end right now, opposite of Cam Hayward. Um, and then Keanu Benton, who was drafted. I want to say it was last year,
Year before last out of
year before
Wisconsin.
last. So he kind of improved over the season. When he got drafted, I was like, Steelers kind of going to that pedigree, what they known for, like starting with that front, starting with the defense, so defense and run game pretty much. So um, definitely like feel like the first 3 picks here, well, 4 picks, addressing the defense, that's something that they wanted to get to. Um, and then with Jack Sawyer coming over from Ohio State, adding to that linebacker room with Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson, who was drafted last year. Nick Herbig is when Nick Herbig was drafted, not last year, year before last, I was like, it's not elite, and it probably won't be, but it's potential there. You know, but other than that, like what, and we'll touch more base on the Steelers in 32 and 32 later on in the year. But like, is there anything else that you want to touch on the Steelers? I mean, I
No,
think they addressed what they need to address.
yeah, man, I think they addressed what they needed to address because we all know the offense for the Steelers last year wasn't the problem. It was the defense on the back half of the season. They were getting up 35 and 40 points. And we know historically that's not what the Pittsburgh Steelers do. You know what I mean? So for them to go and address defense, and show up a problem that they had at the end of last season, yeah, they're going to bounce back. They're going to be and we'll speak on more of this in 32 and 32, but they're going to be a tough out for any of those teams in the AFC North, definitely for sure. I'm not saying they're going to finish last, but it's going to be a tough out when you go to Pittsburgh, or either Pittsburgh got to come to you.
No doubt, no doubt. They always gonna carry that pedigree with them. Let's go Cincy. And they started out in the first round, pick 17, defensive end Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. In the second round, pick 49, they took linebacker Demetrius Knight from South Carolina. Third round, pick 81, offensive guard Dylan Fairchild from Georgia. In the fourth round, pick 119, linebacker Barrett Carter from Clemson. In the fifth round, pick 153, offensive guard Jalen Rivers from Miami. In the sixth round, pick 193, running back Taj Brooks from Texas Tech.
Hey, brother! Before you, I'm gonna let you go. Before I want to say something first. Bengals fans, if you're out there, please chime in. What is going on with y'all ownership? You know, you got your top pass rusher, your best pass rusher you probably had in franchise history, can't get a contract. You got your first round pick, Shamar Stewart. There's some kind of language issue in his contract. He's not signed. And Demetrius Knight, your second round linebacker, he's not signed as well. They're not there for OTAs and rookie minicamp. So is this the Bengals right now? They're not, they're not in a good light when it comes to, hey, this is a class A organization to come play for, because the way that they're handling contracts, according to what reports be going out there, that's not a good look, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know how I feel about the T. Higgins contract. It's pretty much a 1-year deal. You're gonna pay Jamar Chase, you're gonna pay Burrow, but there's more players on the offense on the team besides Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. Man, so you got to take care of your players if you're a Bengals fan. I know you're a little. I will be a little upset about it. Mike Brown, what are you doing? I can't think of the head coach name right now. It's drawing a blank. Drawing a blank right now. But what are you doing? And this is not a good look for Cincinnati, man. It's not a good look. And you want to compete with the Baltimores and the Kansas Cities and the Buffaloes. What incoming free agent gonna want to come sign there when you know that your ownership and your front office is gonna try to lowball you, or not lowball you per se, but it's give off a bad perception. It gives off a bad look for the organization. So, Bengals fans, comment below. Let me know how you feel about your franchise with these holdouts and everything. But sorry, brother Patterson, I just had to get that off my chest so we can go and talk about the Cincinnati's draft haul here, if you would like.
Oh, no problem, brother. Speak your piece, man. That's what we're here for. But I'm in total agreement with you. Like you said, the T. Higgins contract, just for it to be a 1 year, and it's like, what did we put all this time to negotiate this deal for? Just for this? You know what I'm saying? So it's not much security in it, and then you got Trey Hendrickson showing up to OTAs in a polo and in slacks and dress shoes and shirt tucked in and everything. And it's like he's letting you know that he wants to be here. Like, what is going on? The man led the league in sacks for the past the year. He was tied for second most in the league the year before last. What is the deal? And now you're having a contract issue, signing issues with your two rookies. It's not good. What is really going on up there? And it just lets me know that you're going to be in the same predicament that you were in last year. Zach Taylor, that's the head coach name that we both blanking on. But you pretty much going to be in the same predicament that you were in last year. What difference are you doing? And why isn't your top pass rusher on this team? um. Oh man.
It's frustrating for sure, and not only the
It
play.
is.
It's like you work hard. I've showed you what I can do. I've showed you what I can do twice. Reward me, and then you come in. And this from Trey Hendricks' perspective. Now you come in. I do what I do. Hey, all I'm asking for is a little pay increase, and then you go out and you draft a defensive end that has 4.5 sacks of production and 4 years of school.
So
He's a
basically, you drafting
project.
out potential.
Yeah, he's a project, and then he don't sign because of some language. And the thing about it, it's not like it's a money issue in the language. Each first round pick money is already slotted, so he already know wherever he getting picked or wherever he got picked, that money's automatically guaranteed according to the new CBA. You pick one if you first round pick and you pick number one, you know you're getting this X amount of dollars. If you pick 30, you're getting this X amount of dollars. Pick 17, you're getting this X amount of dollars. So it's not like the money's the issue; it's the language and the contract. So why can't you just go ahead and make the language for me, like every other rookie in the league, first round pick in the league has. If I was, Bengals fans, I'd be upset. If I was Shamar Stewart, I'd be upset. And if I was Shamar Stewart's agent, all three of those components right there have every right to be upset because there's no excuse why his language has to be different from any other first round pick. If this was going to be a problem, you never should have drafted me. You should have went and got somebody else. You know what I mean? But
I mean, you took Miles Murphy in the first round, pick 28. What was it?
a couple years ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago. So I mean, they're not a bad franchise as far as team play, but as far as like the business decisions, like they don't make very good business decisions. And just as well as you have those teams that are they're good on the field, bad front office. It's kind of like they're no better than the bad front office, bad on the football team either.
Yep.
So yeah,
But yes,
man.
sorry we went on this little rant about the Bengals, man. I just had that I just been stewing in that for a couple of days, and I figured this would be the perfect opportunity to get that off. But
We probably go into another one with the Browns coming up too.
oh,
So
you know what's coming. But definitely, yeah, first round pick Shamar Stewart. Like I said before, all the potential in the world. His 6'5", 280, 285, 290. On paper, you would think, okay, if you just took a blind test and you put his profile besides another blank profile with 6'5", 280, his profile and Myles Garrett profile is eerie similar, dang on similar. One thing for sure, Myles Garrett was had the better production in college, but like you said that the Bengals are picking Shamar on a off potential. I like Demetrius Knight in the second round out of South Carolina. I thought to get him at 49, I thought that was great. That was perfect range for him. Dylan Fairchild playing on that great Georgia offensive line. They produce left tackles, right tackles, and some guards. So I think that was a good pickup to shore up their line. You got to protect Joe Burrow and go get Barry Carter. And their fourth round has been in the league for a while, experienced, explosive, can move a little bit. And they go get Taj Brooks in the sixth round at Texas Tech. I watched him a little bit in the Big 12. Good shifty back, not scared to run between the tackles. Got a little bit of home run speed as well. Catch out the backfield. So, yeah, man. This draft right here is all hinge on Shamar Stewart. If you hit on Shamar Stewart, you might have something with this class, but we gotta get my boy on the field, man. So, prayers up to the Bengals fans. Let me know how y'all feel.
when the Bengals was coming into this draft, I said that a running back would be one of those positions that they can tackle as well, and they did that. Chase Brown, Chase Brown had an excellent season last year. I would say he had an excellent season. Um, Zach Moss, who was signed last year, didn't really do too much. Got Samaje P. Ryan on the roster as well. Taj Brooks is a dark horse to be either a starter or him and Chase Brown could kind of be a 1-2. Over 1,500 yards rushing for the past 2 years for the Red Raiders and 27 touchdowns, 5.3 yards a pop.
Yeah, man.
That's a dark horse.
Yeah, they needed that, and like we've been saying before the draft, what do the Bengals need to do? What did I say, Larry? I don't care what they do in this draft, as long as they go defense, 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 defense. What they did, 3 of their 6 picks. Yeah, man, they're addressing the side of the ball that they desperately need help on. We all know they're trying to get over that Lamar Mahomes hump, Allen hump. So
yeah, not having contract issues with your number 17 overall pick, and then in contract issues with your league leading sack leader. That definitely ain't gonna help. So they got to get it together, man. But we'll touch more base on them later on in the year. Let's go to Cleveland. And what a crazy looking draft right here. So they were the team that traded with Jacksonville for the number 2 pick, and they could add Travis. But you move back a couple spots, you pick up defensive tackle Mason Graham. Not bad. Out of Michigan. And then second round pick 33, linebacker Carson Schwessinger from UCLA. In the second round, pick 36, running back Quishon Juggins from Ohio State. In the third round, pick 67, tight end Harold Fanning from Bowling Green. Big boy. And also in the third round, pick 94, you took quarterback Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. In the fourth round, pick 126, you took running back Dylan Sampson from Tennessee. And in the fifth round, pick 144, you took quarterback Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. What do you think? Was it the right decision for them to move back at number 2?
I mean, you end up getting another first round pick out the deal from Jacksonville. Yeah, I think it was everybody want to label Travis Hunter as generational. I get it. There's one guy that you can't miss on, but the opportunity to have more swings at the ball, swings at the bat in the batter's box, you never want to pass that down. So yeah, man, I think it was the right move. Me looking back on it, me being a Raiders fan, I was like, dang, if Travis is there too, how can you do that? But sometimes people sweeten the pot up so good for you that you can't pass up trades, and hey, going back to 5 and getting Mason Graham, it's not a bad consolation prize.
3.5 sacks last year, 3 in 2023, but it's so much more to it. Clogging up holes. And defending in the run game as well. So I with him up there in the middle, and then you have Myles Garrett on that one side. Man, I mean, who knows what we can see out of those guys, and then Quishon Juggins. Like, you add him to the running back room, that minus Chubb. Nick Chubb's not there anymore. So you got to see what you got to get out of this running back room. And in the tight end room, David Njoku's there. But how long are you going to hold on to him? So how you feel about them going two running backs in the class?
Yeah, man. Like I said previously, man. Hey, man. If you're gonna get 2, this the draft to get 2. I think getting Quinshon at 36 and going back get Dylan Sampson at 126, man. Shoot, 100 and some picks apart. I think that running back room is young. It's more explosive. Dylan Sampson, I don't think he fumbled maybe once in his college career at Tennessee. So yeah, man, you got somebody that's gonna hold him to the ball, and Quishon, he's coming over. He's a national champion. He came over from Ohio State via transfer from Ole Miss a couple of years ago. So he's been on the radar for a few years now. He's just as fast as Travion, but Quishon he's physical between the tackles. He's will hit the hole if needed to. Harold Fannin, I think, is a great compliment to David Njoku. And Carson Schlesinger, man, he hit my radar a little late. I thought he had a little bit of, in and around one buzz, but to get him at pretty much in the first round at pick 33, I think that's definitely a steal, man. They need a green dot in their linebacker room because I don't think they had a green dot linebacker that was worth anything since what? Who was there? Carlos Dansville years ago, I believe.
I believe
I,
so.
I believe that was the last, Browns linebacker that I, really say, oh, he
That's
played for
been
the
a
Browns
long time ago.
long time ago. So
I mean, they got JOK there though.
JOK, but he's got a neck injury, so I don't think he's even playing
right.
this year. So I don't even think he's playing this year. So they had to do something to shore up that linebacker room. I know we haven't touched on two quarterbacks yet. Now that's probably gonna be a lengthy conversation here soon.
Yeah, that's exactly where I wanted to go next. For them to pick 94, you take Dylan Gabriel, and then you circle and so this is what I heard. So the Eagles were trying to trade up to get Shador, and I think the Browns, kind of like being who the Browns are, went ahead and just took that pick right there. If that's the case, then why didn't you just take the guy in the first round? Well, I mean, you could have took him in the second round when you could have got drafted, and you see how that worked out in college.
Right.
So, is there? Do you think that both quarterbacks will be on this 53-man roster?
I had a discussion about this Sunday with a family member. I do think both would be on the roster. I do. I take that back. I think Shadul will be on the roster. Gabriel will be on the practice squad. Because you think about it, they have Deshaun Watson there. He's not playing this year. Flacco's in the building. He's one phone call away saying, "Hey, I'm retiring." Kenny Pickett, we know who Kenny Pickett is. We know who he is. And then you got Gabriel and you got Shadul. You already eliminate Watson. He's not going to be there. Flacco is the if. And somebody get a quarterback hurt in camp, they say, "Hey, what you want, Flacco? I'll give you a 2028 pick for him or something like that." He's gone. And then you got Pickett. Pickett and Gabriel and Shador. It's like you're not gonna not play Gabriel or Shador because of Pickett. Pickett's not gonna win a job. So I feel like Shador's gonna make the 53. If Flacco's there, he's gonna make the 53. But it's between Pickett and Gabriel. One of those two are going to the practice squad, and I just think experience it. Pickett, having the hands up, been in the league, the one Super Bowl, the been in the room, he can be a mentor to some of these players. He's going to get the other spot, but I wouldn't be surprised if Gabriel gets the spot, and Pickett gets, shipped off or, what a cut or whatever the case may be.
I know the chances of quarterbacks, they have their chances. Dylan Gabriel, he played 6 years in college. There's a lot of quarterback experience right there. And he's passed for over 3,000 yards in 5 of the 6 years. So it's not a lock for me to say Dylan Gabriel on the practice squad. Like he definitely got his opportunity to come too. So to show his potential. So but I feel like the Browns could have. I feel like the Browns could have went like as far as weaponry. Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, who was drafted a year or so ago. You added Deontay Johnson, but at this point, not to say that he can't give you anything, but he's been having issues with teams, with two different teams over the last year. So, I mean, who knows what you're gonna get out of him? I feel like they could have added another dynamic playmaker here.
Yeah, man, they could have had Travis at 2 and Shador at 33.
My God.
But you know,
And in this draft, you took two running backs. So who knows what you're gonna get out of them running backs, and a tight end who's playing behind an already good tight end. So I don't necessarily have a kind of grade for these guys, but I mean, not a bad draft, but they also displayed of why the Browns are where the Browns continue to be.
yeah, and I feel like, okay, number one, this is me personally. This is my personal belief. I feel like the Shador pick was a call from upstairs from Haslam, just to say, hey, get this guy. You know what I mean? And I feel like they have to play Shador this year, or either Gabriel, but more likely Shador because the fans are going to ask for Shador. No disrespect to Gabriel, but they want to. It's the NFL is a business as well, right? You want to put butts in seats. People will come out and see this, Shador saying the show, which is ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And yeah, exactly. And I'm looking further down the road into 2026 because if we're looking at that Browns roster, right? How good is that roster outside of Myles Garrett? Anybody else scares you?
Denzel Ward.
Denzel Ward.
Other than that, like no, not really. Greg
No.
Newsom. I
So
mean,
so so here's my thing. Are they going to be competitive this year? Yeah, yeah. So I go all that to say is, hey, if they're not competitive, and you have to see what Shador has because they're not going to be competitive as people think they would. I could be wrong, but they're not going to be competitive. And then, so if you're not competitive, you're not winning the games. You're going to be back picking in the top 5 again next year. So that means you know what's coming out next year. You got Nussmeier, you got Sellers, you got Aller, you got Cade. You potentially have Arch. You got Taylor Green at Arkansas. You got my boy there in Arizona State. So that's 6 quarterbacks right there. And then 2027, you got Lagway in them boys. You got Nico in them boys. So and I'm saying Cleveland, you have to find out what you have in either Shador or Gabriel this year to see if that's something that you can build on in the future because there's going to be a whole lot of pressure on the organization come next draft if they're picking in the top 5 again. And then you have Drew Aller, Lenore Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, all those guys staring in your face when you're on the clock at pick 5. And if you're picking in the top 5 again because your quarterback play is probably below and not what you thought it would be. And then it's like you're done with Shador already. So that's why I say it's a little when this pick got made, it kind of pigeonholed them and put them in a spot that they probably don't want to be in. And if they had to pick Shador in the second round, it could have been okay. It's not a lot of pressure to jump from Shador if he starts this year. We know he's a second round pick. He's going to be the future. We're going to work with him, and get him some weapons. You being a 5th round pick, it's not even guaranteed that you make the roster. It's not a lock that you make the roster. You know what I'm saying? It's like throwing darts at a board. You don't know what you have until you get them in the room and get them on the board and see them in preseason and in training camp. So that's why I say it's going to be very interesting for the Browns, this preseason, this coming up season, to see where they end up at the end of the year.
and Shador don't necessarily have to blow it out the water. All he got to do is play his game. I mean, like let it come to him.
Yeah.
So basically, the Deshaun Watson situation is
It's done. It's over.
one of the worst signings in history.
Between that one and that
One of the
Russell
worst
Wilson
signings in
one.
trades.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Beside the Russell Wilson one.
Yeah, beside the Russell Wilson one. And I just want to say, speaking of that, I like to give us, thank this came out today. The Denver Broncos putting the late great Demaryius Thomas in their Broncos Hall of Fame. I think that was a good job on the Broncos. I know it's off topic, but since you brought up Russell Wilson, it brought me back to that. Kudos to the Broncos. Uh, kudos to the Broncos for putting him in a Broncos Hall of Fame. Um, Great guy, good receiver. Always was a terror. Georgia Tech 4.3 speed was a nightmare. Sad he had to leave us a little earlier than we expected. But I'm gonna give respect when respect due, being a Raider fan. Good luck on the Broncos, man, for doing the right thing and putting Demaryius Thomas in the Broncos Ring of Fame. Salute to Denver.
Yes, passed away as a Super Bowl champion. So
Absolutely.
and did a lot of damage to Raider fans and in that franchise. So um yeah, rest in peace to Demaryius Thomas. Um moving on, so we done with the Browns, right?
Yeah, I'm done. I'm through.
Let's go to the last team in the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens, a team that seems to draft well each and every year, and just talk about getting exactly what you need. Talk about one of those teams that the rich get richer. Uh, Picking up Malachi Starks in the first round, pick 27. The what's my man that was over the safety that was over there before?
Is it Marcus Williams?
Marcus Williams. So I think he left. Uh, so you insert Malachi Starks, and this is the second time in like the last 4 years that Baltimore has taken a safety in the first round, with Kyle Hamilton being the other guy. So kudos to them. And then in the second round, pick 59, they took Mike Green out of Marshall. And we're gonna get more in depth with this. Uh, Third round pick 91, offensive tackle Emory Jones Jr. from LSU. In the fourth round, pick 129, linebacker Teddy Buchanan out of California. Fifth round, pick 141, offensive tackle Carson Vincent from Alabama A&M. Sixth round, pick 186, they took a kicker Tyler Loop from Arizona. In the sixth round, pick 203, wide receiver LeJontay Wester out of Colorado. Sixth round, pick 210, defensive tackle Aeneas Peebles from Virginia Tech. Sixth round, pick 212, cornerback Robert Longerbeam from Rutgers. In seventh round, pick 243, offensive guard Garrett Dellinger from LSU. How you feel with like the first two picks? Remember, Baltimore didn't have that defense that you were prone to seeing from Baltimore, so they did some things to kind of clean that up, getting Malachi Starks, who can do some different things in that secondary, and then picking up Mike Green, nice linebacker, pass rusher. How you feel where they went in the first two picks in the draft?
Let me tell you, man. I thought Malachi was a top 20 player, top 15 player in this draft. And I thought Mike Green was a top 15 player as well. To get Malachi at 27, great value. I think that's good value. I'm not going to say great. I'm going to say that's good value. Ball hawk can play in the slot. He can come off the edge. Come off the play in the slot. He can blitz for you from the nickel spot. Love to tackle, aggressive tackler. He will come up and hit you. Great coverage. Georgia pedigree, so he's coached well down there in Athens with Kirby Smart and those boys. Then you get Mike Green at 59. Yes, he had some off the field issues, but that didn't scare Baltimore away. Very productive in college, coming off the edge. I thought he was a top 20 player. To get him at 59, excellent value, and it just goes on to Eric DeCosta being a great drafter, and even Emory Jones, excuse me, at pick 91, offensive tackle from LSU. He was projected to be a first round tackle at the beginning of last college season, but things happened, and Will Campbell became the man in LSU. But that's great, great depth for your line. Yeah, man, the Ravens do Ravens things. That pair of Malachi and Kyle Hamilton back there.
Mm.
Yeah, man. It's
Uh,
just a good look for the Ravens.
17 sacks from Mike Green.
Mm.
I don't know if that was for sure off the top of my head. I don't know if that was like league leading for
I
college,
I
nation
want to
leading.
say so. I think it's led the nation.
But for you to grab the top pass rusher in the nation and on a team that's known for great defense, pass rushing, somewhere in the past, you think about those what's my man, one of the pass rushers,
T Sizzle,
Terrell. Yeah, T Sizzle. Yeah. Why am I blanking on names tonight?
Terrell
But
Suggs,
um, a couple other guys. But like over there now, like you got
Adafe Owe,
Adafe Owe, in
uh,
which he playing behind him right now, so it's gonna be competition there.
David Ajabo is there. I think Cal Van Noy is there, I believe, as well.
He's still there, still playing. Old man Cal Van Noy is still playing at a high level. Menet Bouquet still there over there as well. So I think they did the right thing there. Boosting that you can never get enough pass rush, and who's to say he's got to start right this year. He's definitely gonna get the snaps though.
Yeah,
So them going with Emory Jones in the third. So right now he's behind Roger Rosengarten. So there's you know that's gonna
Death
be a
Piece.
depth piece, definitely a depth piece. Um, so yeah, LeJounte Weston going to their weapon room. Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, who I heard the Cowboys had contacted them about. You add DeAndre Hopkins, who at this point in his career, he still can give you production, but he kind of is what he is. And that's not bad on him because him with a weapon, giving him as another weapon for Lamar, I think is tremendous. Where do you think LeJounte fits in this room?
Special teams could be wide receiver 4. Um, yeah, man. Special teams wide receiver 4. He can work his way up to a wide receiver 3. Depending on what they're gonna do with Rashad Bateman. Are they gonna pay him? Knox gonna be there forever.
Right.
So you have to move on from him probably after this year. He probably gonna retire after this year if they don't win. So man, I can see him definitely being wide receiver 4, cracking wide receiver 3. Start as a rookie for sure.
Absolutely. And then adding to the defensive line, needs Peoples from Virginia Tech, and then adding to that cornerback room with Longer being, for the past year, as we said, Baltimore hasn't been that great in secondary, and adding more guys there. We'll see what they can do. They add Chidobe Awuzie over the past free agency mark, and then drafting Nate Wiggins last year. So I think they're slowly trying to build that thing up back to where it used to be.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. If you ever notice, bro, with Baltimore, man, they have so many picks. They have
always.
so many picks, and they never like. When is the last time the Ravens and Ravens fans, please chime in because I could be completely wrong. The Ravens don't pay. The Ravens don't pay their pass rushers.
No, they don't.
They don't. They've had Owe, they had Terrell Suggs, they've had I'm blanking on some right now, but I can't think of the last big contract that the Ravens have had for a pass rusher. They just draft them. They release and draft them, man. They develop them, man, which is at a premium position for you to end up doing that and being successful. They're doing something right, man. I didn't notice that until I looked at the rosters and was like, I don't know the last time they paid a big time pass rusher like that, and they just draft them, develop it, then they let the ones there go on to get big contracts somewhere else.
Absolutely. I want to go to their page real quick on Pro Football Reference because I'm trying to see as far as like how their sack production has been over the years. And I want to say last year, I don't think it was that great. Let me check right now, real. So their leading pass rusher last year, Kyle Van Noy 12.5 sacks, and then Odafe Owe at 10. And Kyle Van Noy still out here grabbing sacks like he in his third season. And the year before, okay, Metabuke 13 sacks.
He got paid off that year too, bro.
He did so that he did get paid, right?
Yeah.
So that's one person we can say that got paid. Year before that, 2022. Not as much because Justin Houston had 9.5, and then Metabuke had 5.5. So I think though that year and probably a couple years prior to that, they had those plug and play guys who were still productive, and then you put them in that system, and then they just produce. So, but for them to grab Metabuke, extend him, and you get you a Peebles that could be something, could be a good role player. You still got Travis Jones and Broderick Washington along on that defensive front, but I guess the Ravens do things their way, and it's been seeming to work. So yeah, I think we pretty much touched on everything about the Ravens. Real quick, we'll put their drafts picks up here one more good time for everybody to see. But any concerns with the weaponry that he? I know Derrick Henry signed an extension over the offseason as well too. But any concerns as far as like the weaponry that Lamar has?
Nah, man. Nah, man. Just run it back. Run it back. You always knocking on the door. Lamar has the MVPs. He needed Super Bowl trophies now. That's what's missing. He got the 2 MVPs. He could have won it again this year, but he needs Super Bowl trophies now, man. They're the only things he needs. He still got Mark Andrews. I don't know if Andrews probably Andrews last year on the roster. You still got Isaiah Likely, who's young, 26 years old. He's going to be a tight end one. So, I mean, you have the weaponry, Zay Flowers, Bateman. You have the weaponry to get it done. Let's just close the deal this year, man. He fought hard versus Buffalo last year, came up a few points short. Yeah, man, we want to see that Ravens, Lamar, and Mahomes AFC Championship. We want to see that again. Let's just go and see what we can get done.
4 more teams left, and we're gonna go to the D real quick. We're gonna go to Detroit, and they're starting with their first round, pick 28, defensive tackle Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State. In the second round, pick 57, they took offensive guard Tate Ravage from Georgia. Third round, pick 70, wide receiver Isaac Tesla from Arkansas. In the fifth round, pick 171, offensive guard Miles Frazier from LSU. In the sixth round, pick 196, defensive end Ahmed Hassanin. If I pronounced that right, man, my bad, brother. From Boise State. And then in the seventh round, pick 230, safety Dan Jackson from Georgia. And in the seventh round, pick 244, wide receiver Dominic Lovett from Georgia as well. So they went 3 guys from Georgia on this team. Them taking Tyleik Williams was a need, especially along that defensive line, considering not a lot of pressure from their defense. Like you had like 13 guys that was on injury reserve last year. Remember that? So for them to come up and get that defensive tackle right there, Aleem McNeil not gonna be there forever.
Yeah, he coming off a torn ACL, I believe.
And he coming off a major injury. So I know they signed DJ Reader over the offseason, but you got to add you some competition up there to see what you can get out of that. I think defensive line for them to go to first was very key. How you feel about that?
Yeah, man, you gotta give Hutchinson some help. opposite pass rusher, some more interior help, anything that make things a lot easier for him to get to the quarterback. Because we seen when he's on. You know, from the Michigan alumni, by the way. When he's on, he's on. He's probably one of the top pass rushers in the league. So this draft right here for me was all about trenches. And with Talik Williams, Tate Rallich, Miles Frazier, Ahmed Hassan out of Boise State. So this is all about trenches, getting depth because like I said, they had 13 people on IR last year, and that's brutal for that was brutal for Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell. That's tough for any team to fight through and to remain competitive. Shout out to the Lions for fighting to the end with all those injuries, man. But get some penetration with Tyleek Williams in the first round. Get some depth to Tate Rallies on the offensive line because some their guards and centers they're getting a little up there in age, so it's time to recycle in some new ones, new youth on the offensive line, man. So yeah, I think I like what the Lions did as far as addressing some needs. And then Isaac Tesla, I have to do some more research on him, but they traded up for him for sure. I do know that for a fact. Give St. Brown some help and Jameson Williams some help on the outside, and you still got my boy Sam Laporta, roaming in the middle of the field, man. So yeah, man, I like what the Lions did. The theme of their draft was address the trenches, give the O line some help, and give Aiden Hutchinson some help on the defensive line.
Yeah, Marcus Davenport, who was signed as a free agent last year, only played 2 games, so that didn't help them out as well. So, defensive end like him could definitely been good down the stretch if they had him. But yeah, man, I think this gonna be very challenging because both sides of the ball are going to be having different coordinators. So and we'll see how that challenge holds up. And like as you said, I love how you said they added Isaac Tesla for Amon-Ra St. Brown. And you look at the other guys like Jameson Williams, who more of a deep threat, and then you have Khalif Raymond, who can come through here and there. Special teams as well. Tim Patrick on the older side of things. See what you have out of Dominic Lovett. Those late round guys tend to be gems at times, depending on the system. So, yeah, I think we'll cover more on them in 32 and 32. But I think I agree with you what you said about them, addressing the trenches. I think that was a great thing that they did. You good?
Yeah, I'm good, brother. I know we want to get through this. I know your boys get ready to play at what 8 or 8:30.
Yeah, we like 19 minutes away.
Yeah, so we're gonna
So
speed through this. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna speed up a little bit so he can get to
go
his
to
Halle band go crazy. So
go to Green Bay at first round. They picked at pick 23. They took wide receiver Matthew Golden from Texas. Second round, pick 54, offensive tackle Anthony Belton from NC State. Third round, pick 87, wide receiver Savion Williams from TCU. Fourth round, pick 124, defensive end Barron Sorrell from Texas. In the fifth round, pick 159, linebacker Colin Oliver from Oklahoma State. In the sixth round, pick 198, defensive tackle Warren Brinson from Georgia. In the seventh round, pick 237, cornerback Michael Robinson from Tulane. And in the seventh round, pick 250, offensive tackle John Williams from Cincinnati. Them taking Matthew Golden in the first round was absolutely golden. I think he's going to do some great things there to add to that receiving room with Jaden Reed, who seems more like if you put all of them in one room, they seem like the front runner. Romeo Dobbs, who was that guy at one point, I say the year before, but he's more of like the role guy than Christian Watson, who he can give you a good game here and there, but most of the time he's injured. Dontavian Wicks coming through once again, every now and again. They got Malik Heath signed Miko Hardman. This is one hard receiving class to kind of receiving room to kind of break through. So like once the final cuts come through, you you got to have your good ass receiving room, because with those guys there, they know what they can contribute through what you've seen they contribute. Um, it's kind of crazy. What you think about the receiving room?
Yeah, man, it's deep. Christian Watson, Romeo Dodd, Jatavian Wicks, Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed. Then you got Savion Williams, who's like 6'3". He's like a taller version of Debo out of TCU. Yeah, man. Jordan Love have plenty of weapons to throw the ball to in September. I wouldn't
Not
be surprised if he throw up 40, 45, 50 touchdown passes this year. Not to mention you got, we ain't talking about Josh Jacobs, but one of the top 4, 5, 6 running backs in the league
absolutely.
behind you. Help with play action. But yeah, man, I expect it to be fireworks, plenty of speed with Matthew Golden at 4.29. It's 6'4", 210, 215 for Christian Watson, and he can fly too as well. When he's healthy, he's good to go. He's right. But man, it's gonna be so many. It's gonna be a good receiver to get put on the practice squad to get cut. And it's gonna be a great pickup for somebody else.
Exactly. That's also a good comp pick too, somewhere in it.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along those lines. Yeah, man. They went Baron Sorrell also, and just to touch a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. They still got Lucas Van Ness there, and Rashawn Gary there, so they'll be backing up one of those guys. Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt along the defensive line. Defense should be better. Still got some things to answer with Jair Alexander. I don't know exactly where they're going there, but just touch on Green Bay real quick.
Yeah, with we can go with the Packers when we get into 32 days. It's probably be a guest I want to get on here and talk about the Packers because he's a big Packers fan. I want to hear his perspective on the Packers off season and what expectations he have coming up this year for his team. What he thought about the draft and the direction of his team going forward.
Oh, we definitely get Mr. Rollback on here. So, um, let's go Minnesota. Shout out Darrell also. Darrell Leons from Legacy Maker Sports Network and all the other legacy makers over there. Big shout out to you guys over there. Going to the Minnesota Vikings here. Just touching up on these teams real quick, guys, because the Knicks got there's
They
a
get ready
couple.
to sail here in a few minutes. So.
We're going to the Minnesota Vikings here in the first round and pick 24. They pick offensive guard Donovan Jackson from Ohio State in the third round. Pick 102 wide receiver Tate Felton from Maryland. Fifth round, pick 139 defensive end Tyrion Ingram Dawkins from Georgia in the sixth round. Pick 201 linebacker Kobe King from Penn State, and also in the sixth round, pick 202 right behind him. Pick tight end Gavin Bartholomew from Pittsburgh. Let's talk about a little bit what Minnesota did in the draft.
Yeah, man. I think Minnesota they addressed the trenches with their first pick. Getting Donovan Jackson. I feel like he played a little bit of tackle when Josh Simons was out with the torn patellar tendon, so he feel for him great in that spot. They didn't have a lot of picks this year, which is to me, and I stated before, and I know we talked about it in the past that could have been potentially a trade back spot for them to collect more ammo for because they gave up what they gave up last year to go get JJ and go get my boy out of Alabama, the pass rusher. Can't think of his name when I'm drawing a blank, but they went up and got him last year. So
What's my man name?
Dallas Turner.
Dallas Turner.
We got Dallas Turner last year. So yeah, man. But this draft right here is hey, protecting JJ, getting some weapons around him, and yeah, man. It's not much to say about the Vikings draft. They picked what they picked, and I'm not mad at the Donovan Jackson pick. I feel like they could have got him in the second round or either a little trade back option late on in the first round. But hey, you only have so many limited resources, so I understand that. Get your guy when you can get your guy. Don't risk it. They get Ty Felton out of Maryland, big guy. I think he's 6'2", 6'3". Can separate a little bit, but could be a little bit better at the separation point. And Kobe King out of Penn State. You already know how Penn State linebackers are. He was in the room with Abdul Carter. Great solid linebacker. There's gonna be some depth room behind my boy. I can't think of my boy name right now that played. He balled out last year for Minnesota. And then going back get a tight end in the sixth round with Gavin Bartholomew. We all know that
You ain't talking about Ivan Pace.
Avin Pace, yes, that's it. That's my boy name, Avin Pace. And with Gavin Bartholomew, you got TJ Hawkinson is tight end one, and to get some depth behind him, that's never hurt anybody.
Yeah, adding a receiver like Tay Felton into a room with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. You got Jalen Naylor who can do some things. Rondale Moore was also added to that room, as you said, with the tight end with Bartholomew going to Minnesota with Hawkinson and then Josh Oliver in front of him too. So I forgot all about Ivan Pace, who played pretty damn well last year. Ingram Dawkins added to a room with Jonathan Allen there. So I think this was more about for the future. And then once we get, we keep addressing 32 and 32, but it's true. Once we get more in depth with those teams, like this team in particular, like JJ McCarthy, the spotlight is on him this year because of what they given up for you. And by you getting injured last year, not having that chance, and now that spotlight is on you because they didn't make any other moves other than Sam Howell, who's got some starting experience, who can probably get you through a season or a couple games. But JJ is the guy. He's got that spotlight on him. So, anything else on Minnesota?
Nah, nothing else on Minnesota. Hey man, I'm gonna tell you, man, that 2023 Michigan National Championship team is crazy. I'm just thinking about all the players that got drafted. Boy, that's a good That's a good program, man. That's a great
program. Not to mention about the running backs as well.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. I forgot where dude. I think he with the Rams though.
Who was that?
My dude from Virginia. He was a starter. Why am I blanking on his name?
Donald Edwards?
Not Edwards.
This year or the championship team?
The championship team.
Oh, Blake Corum.
Yeah. Going to the Chicago Bears, here's our last team. First round took at pick 10, they took tight end Colston Loveland from Michigan. Second round, pick 39, wide receiver Luther Burden III from Missouri. In the second round, pick 56, offensive tackle Ozzie Trapilo from Boston College. In the second round, pick 62, defensive tackle Shamar Turner from Texas A&M. In the fourth round, pick 132, linebacker Ruben Hippolyte for the second from Maryland. In the fifth round, pick 169, cornerback Zay Frazier from UTSA. In the sixth round, pick 195, offensive guard Luke Newman from Michigan State. And in the seventh round, pick 233, running back Kyle. Say it again.
Kyle Monangai.
Kyle Monangai from Rutgers. I know what we talked about, what they did with Colston Loveland and that how much that was a need. How do you feel about when they went in the second round with Luther Burden?
Stole Luther Burden. Luther Burden is going to be Ben Johnson's Amon-Ra St. Brown if it all comes together for him.
Ooh.
It's going to be his Amon-Ra St. Brown if it comes together for him. Burden has a little bit of Debo in him. I don't know how he made it to the second round. It's always one of them players every year you be like, how did you let this man get to this person? And he's that guy for me. He's explosive. I thought he was a top 5 receiver in the class behind the obvious depends on who you're asking, who's top three. But I feel like, for him to go to Chicago with DJ Moore, Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift still there, Roshan Johnson still there. There's so many weapons, man. And Colston Loveland, he has the chance to be
Roma Doomsday there as well.
Rome. I forget about Rome. Rome's still there. Colston Loveland has that chance to be. He can have that Brock Bowers type effect this year that Brock Bowers had for Vegas last year. I'm not saying he's going to be an All Pro as a rookie, but you can line him up in line. He can give you some blocking, probably a little better than Brock can. But you line him out as the flex. He run routes like a wide receiver. Like, he's just a big slot, and it's like we've seen Brock highlights and clips of him running whip routes like he's a slot wide receiver, which is crazy. So let's imagine that, having that for your disposal. I love it. I just think the first two picks of the Bears draft are home runs. To get Ozzy Trapilo in the second round as well, it could be a potential starting right tackle for you because you have some expiring contracts coming up. I think Braxton Jones is coming up. You still got your boy from Tennessee,
Darnell
Wright. And then you come back in the seventh round, you get Kyle Monunga with that running back room. And I think, like I said, Swift there, Roshan Johnson's there, and you add Kyle Monunga. He's a physical runner and can get downhill, man. I think the Bears have probably one of the best, a great draft, for Ben Johnson to go in his first season. And I will say this: Ryan Poe's on a hot seat this year as a general manager. He's on a hot seat. You come out, you get Caleb, you get Rome, you sign Keenan Allen, you trade for DJ Moore, you draft Colston. You're gonna have to start turning some of those these players. You got to be better than 5 or 6 wins this year because there's no excuses. Like, zero excuses. You give homeboy an extension, Jalen Johnson extension on the back end. He got paid. So these decisions that you made, these are huge decisions, man. I feel like you'll see it start warming up a little bit if you don't see the turnaround that Bears fans are expecting to see this year.
Traded for Joe Tooney, and then
Yes.
signed him to
extension, right?
Yeah, $35 million extension. I want to say it's 3 years.
Yeah.
So you giving Caleb some much needed help up front because he was I don't know it had the numbers in front of me, but I know he was sacked at a high rate last year. I want to say it was like 60-something sacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's bad. You can't have that on your quarterback. So I understand what they did there, and then you still having Darnell Wright, who was there last year, and then Braxton Jones, Jonah Jackson on the other side. So drafting Ozzy in the third, and when in the second, gives that you can never have too much offensive tackles, and then or tackle depth, and then Shamar Turner adding to that room as well, learning behind Montez Sweat and. I think they addressed what they need to address. I agree with you that the GM is on the high seat, and he at least has to have them in some type of playoff contention going late in the season. What you think?
Yeah, man, he has. I think 10 wins. I think 10 wins won't get it done to hit the playoffs because that division is is loaded. Green Bay is going to be a problem. Minnesota, hey, they're probably not going to win 13 games like they did, 14 games like they did last year, but they're probably going to take a regress back. The Lions still got Jared Goff. They still got St. Brown. They still got Jameson, Laporta, Aiden Hutchins. They didn't go nowhere. They just lost coordinators. So, they're going to be a tough out. So I think 10 wins going to have to get you late sniffing at a wild card. So if I say you get 10 wins, Ryan Poles keep his job. You know what I'm saying? Ben Johnson, off the strength of Ben Johnson, he gonna give you 5, 6 wins where he can scheme up and call up. Anyway, but you know how I feel about Ben Johnson. We'll get to that in 32 teams in 32 days. Guys, I'm telling you, the 32 and 32 is going to be a treat. We're going to go more in depth. I know I'm talking a little bit ahead of myself, but it's going to be a great breakdown on all your franchises from the best franchise, the Chiefs, to the worst franchise, the Panthers, or whoever it may be right now. But just stay tuned for that. This is going to be a treat for you guys coming up.
Yeah, coming to you, like to do it around the end of July. So right around the time that most teams are going in training camp. So that's when we kind of like to speed the process up, because around that time it gets kind of slow and gets a little boring. So, bringing a treat to you guys to bring in-depth looks into your team, and how we view them and how you want to view them, and everything else. So, man, about to go ahead and check game 4 out. Man, Amon, thank you. Sidekick, rolling with me here again for episode 9. Episode 10 coming up soon. So, about to be 10 episodes deep up in here. Everybody, let's go Knicks tonight. Put in the comments who you got, Knicks or Pacers. Hopefully, a bunch of Knicks comments will be up in there. And on behalf of Amon, any final thoughts, bro?
No, man, let's have them get this Nick series over with, because I'm tired of seeing the memes, the Atlanta Falcon memes with the Nick colors, man. It's so bad out here, bro. Then I got my boy. I'm getting voicemails at 4 o'clock in the morning. He going to work upset, mad, sending me memes. I'm like, yeah, my boy going through it. So I need the Knicks to go ahead. I mean, the Pacers go ahead and put the Knicks out their misery at some point, so we can get this Pacers Thunders final with no oral at all. Um, but um, but yeah, man, I'm just excited. Playoff basketball coming to an end. The final start June 5th was on a Thursday, so actually that'll be next Thursday we get our first finals game, and I'm already excited about the finals. But nah, man, that's all I have. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hour and 20 minutes strong. We'll definitely have something cooked up for you guys either this weekend or the beginning of next week. We're gonna put a game plan together to see what's next. But thank you guys for sticking with us and giving us a chance.
Until then.